DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, Dre All Day, Work on Your Game, University.com. Today I want to talk the discipline that separates the highest performers. It's probably not what I'll title it, but I'll come up with a title. And the story that I want to tell you about this is something that I wrote about in one of my articles. And you can go to workonmygame.com, by the way, to get my articles. But the story was, it was this guy in my neighborhood named John Salmons. If you follow NBA, he played in the NBA for like 15 years, something like that, and had a solid career in the NBA. He had played at the University of Miami. He's technically not from my neighborhood, but he would be in my neighborhood because I think he had family there or something like that when I was growing up. He's like 4 years older than me, and he was the best player around from our neighborhood at the time. And when I was growing up playing ball, like 14, 15, 16 years old, I would go out to the local playground in the middle of the afternoon in the summer times to work on my game. And I would usually have the court to myself, except a couple times he would be out there working on his game. Nobody else would come out because it was, hot outside in the middle of the afternoon. And I would see him, he'd be doing his drills and practicing and stuff, and I'd be doing my thing. And of course, I would sneak peeks and see what he was doing because he was the best player around. So I could probably maybe steal something from what I saw him doing. And one day, when I was out there practicing on my court and he was practicing on his court, I saw him put the ball down and he started doing sprints. Like, those of you know basketball, he was doing sprints up and down the court, suicides that we call it, running lines, some of you call it running lines. And I knew what that was because if you play on a team, the coaches always make you do that. That's conditioning. Those are conditioning exercises. But I had never saw a player do that by themselves. Like in their own practice, just go do sprints. Usually the only time you see a player doing sprints in basketball is when the coach makes you do it because you're on a team and you got to do the conditioning as part of being on the team. It's just a necessary evil of being on the team is you got to do these drills. Most players don't like doing them because you'd rather be doing the dribbling and the shooting and all that stuff, the stuff with the actual ball. He was doing the sprints without the ball by himself. And I combined that with the fact that I knew that he was the best player in our neighborhood. So I'm thinking to myself, well, he's the best player around here. And he's the only player I ever saw doing that, doing sprints and doing conditioning on his own volition. And that told me something. And the reason I'm thinking about this now is because I was just telling the story. I was on somebody's podcast that we were recording yesterday, and we were talking about athletic performance, and I told this story, so it got me thinking about it, and I wanted to share it with all of you. And where the connection I want to make here is not necessarily about playing basketball and doing sprints, because many of you may not even be athletes. It's that the highest level performers out there, they take the things that they know are necessary, but maybe is not fun, and they do those things on their own volition. They do them anyway, even though it's not fun, but because they understand that it's necessary, they prioritize doing it anyway. And the highest level performers, the second thing highest level performers do is they take the things that most people only do when someone is forcing them to do it, and they do it, again, by choice. They do it on their own volition. Just like I said, this guy was doing sprints up and down the court on an outdoor playground basketball court just because he chose to, rather than people like me at that time. And my mindset changed after I saw him doing that. And my peers, us who were not nearly as good as him, none of us ever did sprints by ourselves. But if we went to practice with the team and the coach said do sprints, we would do them. But he was doing it on his own in addition to what the coach said. There's a secret in there, an open secret as to why he was the best player around there, is that he was doing things that everybody else only did when somebody made them do it. And the third thing I want you to get from this is that high-level performers, the best performers out there, they do things now that everybody else does later. They get to doing this stuff now because when I saw him doing that, I thought to myself, there's other players out there who may eventually get the point that they should probably do some sprints, to do some conditioning workouts to get themselves in game shape for the game so that they're better prepared than their competition. But they might not do it until they get on the court with somebody like him and lose, and then they realize, oh, maybe I got to do some conditioning. Whereas he's doing it now before he gets on the court. And these are the things that I want you to understand. That high-level people, they are not smarter than everybody else, and they don't necessarily have insights that you don't have, or access, or even talent. And once they start doing, the thing is, those things are byproducts of the decisions that they make. So the access, the insights, the talent, the knowledge, the information, the accolades, all of those things are often, not always, but often they are just byproducts of a different way of making decisions that separate the high level performers from everybody else. What I mean is, when you make the decision to do the stuff that you know you're supposed to do, but you don't always feel like doing, when you do that, what happens is your skill level goes up, your talent starts to show more, you acquire more, you achieve more accomplishments, you accumulate more accomplishments, you get a bigger name, and all the other stuff that comes with being a winner, a successful person, that many people think that's the reason why they became successful, because they have that stuff. No, they get that stuff because they became successful based on the decisions that they make. So the biggest point that I want you all to take away from this message is that you already know a good amount of the discipline requiring activities that you need to be doing and should be doing to help move yourself forward. The question is not whether or not you know about them. The question is, do you have the discipline to make yourself do them? And the unfortunate truth for most people is that they don't have the discipline to make themselves do these things. It's not that you don't know about them, it's just you don't want to do them. Because again, what basketball player wants to get on the court and do sprints? Most basketball players get on the court and you want to practice doing what you see Kobe Bryant and Kyrie Irving and LeBron James doing, because that's more fun, it's more enjoyable. But doing the sprints is a necessary thing that's going to help you be a better player. Are you willing to do it? When you're running a business, there's certain things you don't want to do. You don't want to do the paperwork. You don't want to be managing the CRM. You don't want to have to respond to these emails. But you understand that doing that is a key to making your business work. So are you willing to make yourself do those things right now and immediately, instead of waiting until the last minute to finally get to them? These are the things that separate. They are little things in the big picture, but these little things add up and make a big difference. And this is what separates the people who end up winning in the long run from the people who end up not winning in the long run. So the question is just, again, not if you're aware of this, because if you weren't aware, you're now aware because I'm talking about it, but what are you going to do with this knowledge, this information, now that I'm giving it to you? That's the actual the actual question. With all that said, folks, Work on Your Game University, you're going to get into our 4-part framework and have me as your direct coach based on mindset, building your bulletproof mindset, business building framework. The Work on Your Game system is what we call it, about systematizing your efforts and your outputs, and the accountability and implementation to make sure you're performing at your highest level consistently based on the program that we put together. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is down below in the description to this video. And again, that's the best place to have direct access to me, direct access to all of our trainings and frameworks and materials. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.